Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rev and Filo Show. I'm Filo, and always with me, my partner, Rev.
Hello, Felipe. Good to see you as always.
Good
Here
to
we
see
are
you.
again.
Here we are again with, another week of protesting. Some more news.
You know, this really is like a perfect storm. Like the whole COVID thing happened, right? That put a lot of people out of work, a lot of people out of business. So a lot more people not only are upset, but they have the time now to keep a protest up through the week, through the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And but I mean, it's a good thing because, we're not letting up. So, a lot of government officials, like local government and different cities are starting to, try to present legislation for change.
Yeah, there's reforms that people are setting in place. There's a lot of things going on. One of the biggest things that's going on right now is the police union, man.
Right. Well, there's the whole there's like a whole it's defund the police. It's funny, like my sister, she's like completely she's very much into the Black Lives Movement, and she's very she's all about all these different ideas they have of defund the police and she's an activist, in she's always posting, and this she really uses her social media for mostly that, as of late especially.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's always sending me stuff, so so it kind of keeps me in the loop a little bit, so I see all these things and I'm like, okay. I don't think I do as much research as she does, but the big thing right now is defund the police, though.
Yeah.
Which is like, there's people who are like, fuck the police, like, we don't need them. And then there's other people who are like, that's the stupidest idea ever. Of course we need police.
Yeah, we just need to find a balance. I mean, that's why.
And that's the problem with what's going on right now is like, everyone's either one extreme or the other, or at least that's how they want to make it seem. Like they're like, the left is like saying like, well, the right's fucking extreme as fuck, and the right's like, well, the left is fucking extreme as fuck, and it's like, it gets everyone confused. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I always feel like, instead of defunding the police, why don't we just push for reform? We don't have to defund them completely. I mean, because
well, they're saying that it's not so much dismantle the police and just like this the Wild West. It's get them better training, reform what what are the requirements to be a police officer, and the type of training they have, and maybe even mandatory therapy, and not so much therapy to get in, maybe like a mental, like a psych evaluation. And I'm talking about trauma therapy once you're in the LAPD. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think they probably already have that. But
well, one of the biggest things, I think, one of the ideas, I don't know what it's like in other states, and cities, but one of the biggest ideas that I thought was great, that was talked about. Now let's see if they implement it. Was when Mayor Garcetti brought up the fact that they want it mandatory for other officers to be able to stop, excessive force by their, their colleagues.
Make it mandatory.
Yeah. So like, if they see somebody, choking or potentially killing, or injuring a suspect, or somebody they're apprehending, that they're able to tell them, hey, stop, and make it mandatory that they need to be able to say.
But then at the same time, like, even if they implement these rules and these sort of standards, there's a lot of bending of the rules, and a lot of cops, or at least I've been seeing stuff online about like ex-cops, people who are in the force or are retired, talk about how corrupt it is, and how a lot of these rules are kind of already implemented, but they're not really enforced. And it's, the only reason why they're getting enforced now is because the public is speaking up.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, it just goes back to, I don't know if you remember Christopher Dorner.
It's funny, you had brought that up about a week ago, right?
Yeah.
And then I was watching Chappelle yesterday, that new Chappelle. I wouldn't even really call it a stand-up. It felt like he wanted to speak on what's been going on, and the only way he knows how to do it is to get up in front of get on a stage in front of an audience and just speak from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
a lot like the way he does his comedy, but and it was weird. Like if you watch that Chappelle special, like it's presented in the context of a stand-up, but there's not a lot of laughs. There's a couple laughs here and there. Most of the time, people are just sitting and listening to him.
I think he even addresses the audience. Like, are you having
he
fun?
even says like he's like he'll go on a bit of a tangent, right, about a certain, and then he'll kind of look around and realize, like the context in which he's presenting this and what people expect from him when he's on the stage, with the mic, and he'll say, he goes, none of this is really funny, huh? He go look at me like, I know, this isn't, none of this is that funny. He goes, I'm trying, almost like he's saying, like, I'm trying, like, to maybe find some humor, but even Dave Chappelle, who can find humor in anything, can't find,
Which, it's like what we said earlier, and like, why that was relatable for us. And anybody who does, like, this type of platform podcasting and having fun on making videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's relatable because it's you're trying to have a good time, but you can't. It's hard not to address these issues that are going on, and it's not fun to address any of these issues. It isn't, but it's necessary.
I'm already and I'm already like, like I said last time, there's a part of me that's like, man, I wish like we could just go back to how shit used to be, but that's that's just the laziness, that's that lazy head, that lazy voice, it's like, oh, like I just want to like coast, but. Yeah. We've gotten to a point where, you either, you can't be silent about it.
Yeah.
Even if you're on the other side, everyone is really using their voice. And I guess that's the only way things are going to change. It's also causing a shitload of tension because, there's a lot of people who don't think all of this is like, the weird thing is like, if you look at the quote-unquote left, right, and then if you look at the quote-unquote right, I know where I stand, as far as social issues. I pretty much stand where, like, I can only understand things from my perspective, so I never pretend to understand anyone else's perspective unless somehow I feel like, well, I've been in those shoes.
Right.
But if not, then I'm pretty much open-minded about everything. What confuses me is it seems like both, like, they're defending different issues, but they're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
The government and the media are like, the left or the right says the media is the enemy. It's brainwashing everyone into thinking whatever the left's thinking. And then you look at the left, and the left's saying the media is brainwashing the right into what the right is thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what you see on the news and this and that. And it's like, in my head, in a weird way, I'm like, you do realize you guys are saying the exact same thing, right? Like, yeah, you're backing different issues from different perspectives, but the central theme of what you're accusing each other of, or what you're accusing of what's going on, is that these agendas are being pushed by the media. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's riling everybody up, and it's making the right more racist, and it's making the left more radical. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's so when I say, I've said it in the past, when I say I get very confused, that's what confuses me. Is like, where do I stand? Because I don't know. Like, there has to, it can't be one. It can't be one extreme or the other. There has to be a middle of some sort. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's kind of like what Dave Chappelle said. It's the streets are talking now at this point.
Right.
The people are talking. It's no longer the media. I mean, believe what you want.
The only difference between the right and the left is the right is pro-government and the left is anti-government. I guess that's
well,
I mean, anti the current government.
Yeah.
The current structure of the government. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people on the right, will do anything in their power to preserve it. People on the left seem to be doing anything in their power to
change it,
to dismantle it. You know.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. It's got to be somewhere in the middle. It's just I don't know. The whole issue just runs so deep that it's almost more than any of us can like individually comprehend.
Yeah.
You know how deep this shit runs.
Yeah, and then like to go back to the cops and the corruption and Christopher Dorner, you know, trying to expose, even though he wrote this like long ass manifesto, and I kind of try to go through it, and you know what.
Sorry, should I let you go? I was just gonna say what because Chappelle brought it up. That's why we brought up the Chappelle thing.
Yeah,
because you had brought it up before the Chappelle thing dropped.
Yeah,
and then when I was listening to it last night, he brought up Christopher Dorner.
Yeah.
Now that's a controversial subject because, you know, he killed a bunch of people in cold blood, right? And, you know, that's obviously something that nobody's gonna condone. You know what I'm saying? Outside of a, you know, an actual like war setting, you know, combat setting, you know, to just go and start mowing people down, but. And, you know, that's a heavy but.
Yeah.
But if you read his manifesto, he pretty much did it in response to the corruption of the police force, saying that he tried to call someone out, one of his cops.
One of his partners. It was a female, white female.
And that he tried to, like, call her out for doing some sort of police brutality,
for kicking a mentally disabled man, handcuffed already. That Dorner himself handcuffed, apprehended, and while he was on.
And
the
then
floor.
she just came in swinging and kicked him.
From what he reported is that she kicked him in the chest, and then in the face.
That's right. So and then he tried to report it, and then like they kind of bullied him out.
So he reported it. It went. They investigated, and they have. I guess there was other witnesses there, and they claimed that nothing happened. I don't know who the witnesses were. Maybe they were cops. But they reported no. But the father of the disabled man, was there, and he witnessed, and he said his son was kicked, and he had injuries to prove it. But for whatever reason, it was pretty much just like dismissed. They said, "Oh, there was nothing." The witnesses said nothing happened. So after that was dismissed. Then he was suspended for lying, is what they said. He made up they're saying he pretty much made up his report.
Okay.
And then he tried to get his job back.
And why did the man dismiss it?
They said that 4 witnesses said that
it didn't happen. Okay. Well.
And then so, you know, that's what started his whole spiral of a life. You know, based off his manifesto and what people were reporting. He was also put on this list by his ex-wife, I believe, or one of his exes, on this list on, like, men not to date. And, like, they give you, like, a report on why not to date him. And what she listed was that he was paranoid and, you know, and said that, you know, after this happened, he felt the LAPD was ruining his life. He got kicked out of the Navy, and, you know, his life was just spiraling from there. And then in his manifesto, he reported that he's not going to harm any individuals that are not a part of the LAPD. So, which is, you know, if you follow what happened.
What I don't understand is why he went after LAPD, but also like their families.
Because he said they ruined his life and ruined his chance at having a family.
Ooh, heavy.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, it's a controversial subject because you know, you
but
don't want to sit here and be like, yeah, they deserved it.
Yeah.
But it calls out to that point so much more.
What I wanted to bring up is what he said in his manifesto, and what really stood out to me was he called this thing that why he got, you know, fired was because they claimed that he had broken, and this is unofficial, is just what he says, is that they told him he had broken the blue line.
What's the blue line? And
if you look up the blue line is this what the cops and like I guess internally what they say is the line between the cop and regular civilians, and that the blue line is like their trust.
In other words, like
each other,
like Fight Club.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like you never talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, but so they're saying that they couldn't trust him because he had broken blue line because he was trying to do the right thing.
In other words, so in a weird way, minus all the brutal killing, he was kind of like Commissioner Gordon and like one of the few cops that wasn't absolutely corrupt, essentially.
Yeah, and then it's like Chappelle said, you have to remember he has a military background, and
Right.
he's trained to fight like Chappelle said, verbatim. He was trained to fight terrorism, and
Shit.
he felt he was done wrong because the cops were essentially doing terrorist acts. you know? and then you see that he kills these cops, and then and then the cops go on and say, oh well, you can't kill cops, but then you have cops killing innocent men like George
civilians.
Floyd. Yeah,
Right.
George Floyd
And Breonna Taylor.
Which
Which is a whole other thing where, I mean, from what I've heard, the cops busted into her house, no warrant, while she was sleeping, so I'm assuming it might have been at some time in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And she's sleeping, and they shoot her 8 times in her bed while she's sleeping.
Yeah, or she had gotten up, because I know like there was reports of her boyfriend or husband that had gotten up, and he had a gun.
The boyfriend had gotten up.
Yeah, but he had a gun because they thought that they had gotten broken into, their house. So he got up with his gun, and then that's the cops' excuse for shooting.
But even still, like, if you roll in without a warrant and you bust the door down, and then someone gets their gun and not knowing that they don't know you're coming. It's not like you call them ahead of time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you say, "Oh, wait a minute, don't we have a constitutional right to like protect our home with a gun if we think we're being like invaded or not invaded, but broken into, or being like robbed, or our life is threatened?"
Yeah.
And it was. And then why does the cops get away with it?
Yeah, and then like another, like here's.
And why did she did the boyfriend get shot?
I don't think. I think he didn't get injured at all. I think they just completely missed him.
I don't know. I haven't. That's just what I've heard.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's another video I saw of a guy, and it wasn't even it wasn't even a black person. It was a white person. They were like at some apartment. I forget his name. He's been floating around. He's at his apartment, or he was doing a job at an apartment. Some cop shows up with like an AK or a pretty like heavy gun. Tells this guy to get on the ground. He gets on the ground with his hands up, and the cop shot him and killed him.
Oh shit.
With his while the guy was on an execution essentially.
Yeah.
And that cop is fine. He never got charged. And that guy is dead, and that's it.
And that's why it's so infuriating to hear all these union leaders from the police.
Yeah.
Saying all this shit
like that fucking old white guy. Oh my god.
Yeah.
He talk about like what a douchebag.
Talking about disconnect, right?
Yeah, talk about disconnect. Like, I don't know. It was so weird. Like, you look at that whole speech and you look at everyone behind him.
Yeah.
And it's all white males.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so I mean, come on.
Yeah.
All white males are supposed to protect fucking, black communities and Hispanic communities and poor communities and this and that, I mean, not to imply that the majority of black people and brown people are poor, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I was thinking about that,
There's a compilation out there. I found it on iFunny. If you guys want to look it up, but they put up the speech right next to clips of police brutality, right? And like one of the things I remember is when he said, "Stop." He right from his speech.
Stop treating us like animals.
Yeah, stop treating us like animals.
And thugs.
Yeah, and then you see these videos of police doing exactly what he just said not to do to them.
Yeah,
it's like.
What do you treat us with some respect?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm completely and 100% afraid of you. How much more respect do you want?
Yeah.
You know, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're mad because people aren't treating you with respect anymore.
Mm-hmm.
People are saying, like, hey, wait a minute, fuck you, you know?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about, going back to what I just said, about, like, black communities and Hispanic community or Mexican communities. And this, racism in our country runs so amazingly deep and is so structured that we segregate ourselves, And if you look at Los Angeles specifically, right?
Yeah.
What do you know? What have you always known since you and me grew up here, right?
Yeah.
What have you always known is like sort of a, what's the word? It's just, fuck. Gotta stop smoking so much weed. It's like a rule of thumb in Los Angeles. Let's just say that. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but
yeah.
South Central is where all the black people live.
Yeah.
East Side is where all the Mexican people and Hispanic people live predominantly.
Mm-hmm.
Again, South Central predominantly, right?
Yeah.
West Side, that's where all the white people are, right?
Yeah.
And this and it's not like they, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's not like
they
send
you.
us there
Yeah.
and like we all get tickets and like,
Yeah.
okay, you're over, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just how we did it to ourselves in a weird way, but we did it because who came to the United States and started the government? A bunch of white guys, right?
Yeah.
A bunch of English, white guys and people of English and Dutch ancestry mostly. These are the people who started the United States as a country with its own government, right?
Yeah.
And ever since that happened, everyone who's come after them, even Irish people and Italian people, they're like, okay, you're Irish, okay, Irish town's over there, you're Italian, okay, Little Italy's over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what they've been doing. Okay, you go over there. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And like, these men who started this government treated people so bad that people would feel the need, like, well, I got to be with my kind because they understand me and they won't, be prejudiced or be racist against me. You know what I'm saying? And that still goes on today because it's been passed on and passed on and passed on to where it goes on still, and we don't even fucking realize it. Like, we don't even see it as like a bad thing. We just see it as, well, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's the way it's always been.
And if you have that thought, like, oh, okay, if predominantly black people live over here, predominantly Mexican people live on the east side, and predominantly Asian people live even more east.
Yeah.
Ironically, because Asians come from the Far East. And then north, I don't know who the fuck's up in the north. But if you have this thought, does that make you racist? No. But it is sort of a racist idea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Which is where, that.
And we've all had it. And we all kind of just accept it for what it is. That's what I mean when I say, like, these ideologies, these racial ideologies, they run so deep that we don't even recognize it anymore. Yeah. Because frankly, we're all brainwashed. Every single one of us. So, I don't know. I was thinking about that the other day.
Yeah. And, I mean, when is this going to stop, right?
I don't know if it's possible, to be honest with you. Like, that's why I mean, like, should we go on preserving the United States as it is? No. Is it possible to completely deconstruct the United States and build it, or the United States government and build it from scratch? Probably not. I don't think so, to be honest with you. That's what I mean. Like, there has to be some sort of compromise. Now, the only thing I will say is that when you talk about the left and the right, the only thing I will say, one of the big differences between them is that the left, I feel, are a lot more willing to compromise than the right, because the right is mostly white and nobody wants to give up power.
Yeah. Nobody
wants to give up power. I saw a weird ass video right before you swooped me up for this fucking podcast. It was the weirdest thing. It was a YouTube video. and it was like in the middle of whatever video I was watching. You know, the YouTube ad comes on,
Yeah.
and it was a black guy, and he had a nice suit on, and he starts talking about how white privilege doesn't exist, and he says, what makes a white person have privilege? He goes, that he can go into a bank and get a loan and I can't. He goes, that's bullshit. He goes, I went into the bank, I got a loan. He goes, I think at a better rate than most white people.
Yeah.
And he goes, what makes me a victim, or like white privilege, that a white person walks into a market and can walk in and nobody bats an eye, but if a black person walks into a market, they're gonna all look at me suspiciously. He goes, it's never happened to me my entire life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And he goes, but that's where he loses me. He goes, but if I had my pants sagging and I looked a certain way, he goes, of course people would be suspicious of me. He goes, I would be suspicious of me, or anybody for that matter who had. And I said, okay, see, right then and right there, you're fucking profiling. You're assuming because someone's sagging their pants,
Yeah.
that they're a criminal. What kind of fucked up logic is that? You know what I'm saying?
And man, that goes way back too. That was, I mean, that's the whole reason why the Zoot Suit riots happened.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason.
What kind of shit is that? Even fucking when they were expanding west in the United States.
Yeah.
They'd be like, look at the Indians. They're not wearing any clothes. They're fucking savages. Kill them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, it's, you know, you can't. That's what this whole Black Lives Matter movement is really about, is that we're still getting judged on our appearance. Because we look a certain way, we have to be treated a certain way.
True.
You should have seen this video. This fucking guy, I'm like, man. I'm like, if you completely submit to white culture, yeah, of course you're going to have a fucking great life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and then, you know, we have to remember we're still in the midst of this fucking pandemic, and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon.
I tweeted out the other day. I said, "Are we in a quarantine still?"
Yeah,
and I was like, "I honestly want to know, because I honestly don't fucking know." Like,
yeah.
the other, okay, everyone's been telling me these last 2 weeks that everything's opening up, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. So finally, 2 days ago, or yesterday, I think, I decide to go into downtown. I'm gonna do a little bit of shopping. I wanted to go to Target. I know I told you, but come on,
no,
Jesus,
yeah, I
we're
know.
fucking filming a podcast here. I go into Target. I go into downtown, right? And I'm gonna go to Target. Everything's boarded up. Everything's closed. I was like, what the every place I would have went to was boarded up. And I was like, well, I guess I was misinformed, I suppose.
And nothing was open when you went there? Like, absolutely
Every place?
nothing?
No. There was about 50% of businesses were boarded up. And believe it or not, a lot of the businesses that were boarded up were the big businesses. A lot of like those like little like clothing stores, you know, or those jewelry stores, or, you know, those sort of like kind of shady looking kind of stores, you know, like they might be a front for like a drug cartel.
Yeah.
Those are fine. Which probably means they probably are front because they still got money coming in, but but no, it was a weird sight to see. 50% of businesses in downtown. As I was walking down Broadway, I walked down Broadway from like 5th Street to 7th Street, which, you know, these are big blocks. And from what I saw, 50% of businesses, I would say, were boarded up and had a for lease sign on them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Granted, though, like there's been a lot of activity in downtown as far as like protesting goes. Also, like the rioting and the looting that was taking place a couple weeks ago. So I think a lot of the boarding up was really because of that, more so than.
Yeah, dude. And then the people who were boarding those up, I don't remember the numbers exactly, but I remember hearing and like thinking like, damn, like the contractors they got, like they were specific contractors that were specializing in like just boarding up businesses. And they were making like mad bank. They were just like raking it in. And then like, I'm pretty sure they even made here because like here on San Gabriel, Valley, right here on Valley in the corner over here, there's a few stores that are boarded up, and one of them I felt kind of weird. I don't even.
Are
know
they
why.
still open, or are they just boarded up like the windows?
Well, the one in the corner right here, what I was about to mention.
Sorry, no, because when I hit the wire,
yeah,
and it catches it, but it's all good. I'll fix it.
So the one right here in the corner that I was about to mention, which is weird, that's a travel agency. But it's a pretty big one. You go in.
Are they still open or?
No, well they're closed.
They're closed.
But they've been closed since the pandemic happened.
Okay.
And
ain't nobody traveling.
Yeah, but they still decided to board up their business.
Well, there's a lot of businesses that were closed because of the pandemic that got fucked up, and they had to go and clean their businesses. And
I mean, the only thing is that what I'm thinking is over here, especially because not a lot of protesting really took place down here on this side. More, it was more so like El Monte and Alhambra that they did protesting. But over here, it really went untouched. But you know, that just goes to show you another opportunist, just probably showed up, a contractor, and was like, hey, you should probably protect your business, and then got it boarded up.
Right.
But, I don't know. I just thought that was a little excessive for these companies here to board up their businesses and nothing's going on.
I want to say something to the audience, because I kind of want to move on from this a little bit, if you don't mind. But if I could just put a little sort of bow on everything that's going on with the Black Lives Matter and police and George Floyd and everything that's been happening. It's important to know that what it comes down to is you can't hate people for what they look like, whether they be black or white or brown or whatever other color, what they wear, how they speak. You can't. It's just not. It's just not logical. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you have to get along with everybody. It's not what I'm saying. There's people I know you couldn't pay me to be in the same room with. But it's not because of what they look like. It's because I hate their personalities. And that's perfectly okay. You could do that. But it's not, just don't hate people because of what they look like. Does that make sense?
Total sense.
Thank you. Okay. Shall we move on to something else?
Yeah, I mean, basketball is coming back.
You know what? So I saw The Last Jedi finally.
Oh, yeah, we can talk about that.
And I guess I'll just tell you what I thought.
Yeah. I've been waiting for this for so long.
I liked it.
Oh, all right.
I mean, there was a couple parts in terms of like dialogue that were kind of just whatever. But overall, I thought I liked it. I liked it. I liked sort of the. I don't know. I liked it. You hated it.
Yeah.
Why did you hate it? You said something about the writing or the storytelling. Or
yeah, like I didn't like like they what was established by George Lucas from the beginning, and then like the Jedis and what Luke stood for, and like how he was ready to just put an end to Kylo Ren, right?
Because he. Well, that you know what I will say this, the weakest character I would, in my opinion, as far as like, and it probably is because of all the history, is Luke was kind of a bitch, but I got that he was conflicted, and like, it would seem that throughout the history of the Jedi and the Sith, with every so long as you, it's almost like it would seem that so long as you keep the Jedi going, the Sith will also be around. Yeah. It's almost like Batman and Joker, they're enemies, but they refuse to kill each other. Therefore, the chaos will never end. Yeah. So long as there's a Joker, there's going to be a Batman trying to stop him. But so long as there's a Batman, there's going to be a Joker trying to fuck with him by fucking with Gotham City. Yeah. Right? Or whatever.
Right.
So Luke understood, like, like, man, the dark side lingers within the Force. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of one of the two pieces of this, or they're the same thing almost.
Yeah.
So maybe that was it. He said, "I just want to end it. If I end it here, then we don't have to. Yeah, we don't have Jedi's, but we don't have Sith anymore either."
Yeah.
Maybe that was his logic. That's what I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't clear enough. I don't know. I just felt.
I mean, I seem to have deciphered it just fine.
But the for me also too, the Luke character for me was like when I was a kid, that was like my, I idolized that superhero.
Blah, blah, blah.
And then,
fuck your nostalgia, bro.
And then,
people, dude, the fucking fanboy community is so toxic because they're so fucking in love with the nostalgia that they can't let go of, like, the past. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have to, like, uphold, like, this whole, like, did you hear about how, the Asian character, how she got, like, harassed after the movie?
Oh yeah, that was over the top for that.
And, like, I they say that.
Well, what did you think about that whole, like, side story they had for that?
I liked it. Frankly, I liked it. I thought it was sweet. I liked her. I liked her and fucking what's his name? I want to say John Boyega, but the character's name Finn.
Yeah.
It was fun. You got some jokes out of it. Yeah. What do they want? The Godfather? Godfather Part 2? Just fucking buy into it.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't. But then I talked to Juan about it.
Juan who?
Salazar. And he kind of explained to me how, like, like, especially with the first episode, the prequels.
Yeah.
And how a lot of people hated that too. And then I remembered that, and
because they're shitty.
And then I remember thinking, like, yeah, you know what? I bought into it. Like, I didn't.
Yeah, because you were a kid and you were a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I thought it was the dopest thing I saw too. I was like, pod racing, fuck yeah, holy shit, Darth Maul, fucking, Darth Maul still holds up though.
And he kind of told me, well, did you go into the movie with those same thoughts that you had when you were that young and you saw that? And I was like,
no, you were just like, fuck yeah, Star Wars, baby.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. So, I told him, like, yeah, you know what? I didn't really look at it, like you said, I didn't buy into it at all.
Yeah.
Especially because of the way, I saw Luke and how I was expecting.
And you know what? When fucking the original Star Wars came out, the first Star Wars, A New Hope, originally just called Star Wars, you know what their biggest demographic was? It was kids.
Yeah.
Kids loved Star Wars. Star Wars has never been for adults.
Yeah.
It's it's not the most complicated story. It just so happened that, like, the first Star Wars came out and it was fucking cool and the effects are cool, but it's not like it's not the Godfather, you know what I'm saying? It's not the Deer Hunter.
Yeah,
that's for motherfucking sure, Although I did get nominated for Best Picture, Star Wars.
No, I don't think.
But
so.
It did win Academy Awards for, like, special effects. But here's my point. Another thing is the lady who's running Star Wars now. What's her name?
Kathleen Kennedy.
Okay. I was hearing a guy talking about this whole Rose Tico. The character, the Asian girl character, talking about how he didn't like. He goes, it wasn't right what they did to the actress. What's her name? Callie Marie, I think. Callie Marie Tran. I think she's cute as fuck too. If you want me to be completely honest. Anyways, he said I didn't like. He goes, the girl's nice. It wasn't right what they did to her. How they have to ruin her fucking life. Like that, via social media trolls, but or at least attempt to ruin her life,
Yeah.
But he said I didn't like the character, and that she felt like crowbarred in just to have, like, diversity in the movie. To be honest with you, that's my favorite fucking part of this new trilogy. Is that you got Poe. Well, let's see. You got John Boyega, right? Black guy. Great. The girl, the main character is a fucking white girl. Okay. Still white, but okay, fine. Girl, I'll take it. Rose Tiegel's Asian. Poe, racially ambiguous, but I've seen him play, Mexican people. I've seen him play Middle Eastern people. I've seen him play white people.
Mm-hmm.
Italian.
Yeah.
And there's really no like white guys in the movie. There's a couple.
Yeah.
But they're all evil. And I don't know. I like it. I don't want to see white guys in movies anymore. Frankly, I don't. They invented the movie industry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for the past, pretty much until the turn, let's just say until the last like 5 to 10 years, there's been white guys in movies all fucking day. I don't want to see white guys. I only want to see Tom Hardy, Christoph Waltz, and that's it. That's all who are allowed to be in movies now. Because frankly,
you hear Hollywood?
The only white people who are allowed to be in movies are British people. Because British people are good at acting. They pretty much invented acting. Shakespeare. Yeah. So they're really fucking good at acting. But white American actors are fucking... White guy American actors are like the blandest motherfuckers on the planet.
They're like...
they're terrible.
Like the Kent dolls.
Yeah, it's like, come on. Get out of here. So that's why, like, again, these, not to lump you in with them, but, there's all these people who want to, like, preserve this idea of Star Wars, because they're in love with their nostalgia or whatever.
Did you see The Force Awakens? You did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to preserve this way, but you can't.
Yeah.
Come on, let's move forward.
And like I said, I came to terms with that with
and I saw fucking Last Jedi has 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. It wasn't that universally hated. I don't know why people keep saying that.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought.
And I don't even really like George Lucas that much.
Yeah, I know you expressed that.
but I liked The Last Jedi. I liked it. And I have a feeling, don't tell me, I'm going to watch it. I have a feeling that The Rise of Skywalker isn't going to be as good. And I feel like Last Jedi is going to end up being my favorite of these three. Mm-hmm. I have that feeling. But I don't know. I like it. I like the girl who plays Rey. Mm-hmm. Not only is she fucking beautiful, but like I like it. I don't know. It's different, I like it. I'm into it.
After
it's
Juan
natural.
talked to me, and it's to bring back what you said, like it was meant for kids. I ran into a video. I don't even remember who it was. It was like not even a big YouTuber. It was just some guy who took his kids to go see The Last Jedi because he was into Star Wars.
Yeah.
And older guy, probably like in his mid-40s. But he said, he was like, look, for everybody who's hating it, and this was like right after I had that talk with Juan.
Right.
And he goes, for everybody who's hating The Last Jedi, he goes, come on, you guys have to remember, like, this is not Star Wars for me and you. This is done. That's done.
Exactly.
He goes, that's done. He goes, it's for the kids. If the kids like it.
Give
he goes,
it up,
He goes, yeah, he's like, the kids like it. Let them have it.
Here's another example. People, and it's really ruined the entertainment industry. Because people like us and slightly older than us, like people who grew up in the 90s, as kids and also as teenagers, young teenagers, they're like obsessed with nostalgia, and I am too. I like to think about the stuff that I liked as a kid, because a lot of the stuff we liked as kids was actually really good and well made, and and this and that, whether it be TV or movies. But I'm just gonna say this once and for all to all you fucking fanboys: fuck your nostalgia, dude. Like, fuck you. It's over. Like Felipe said, it's for the fucking kids. Allow things to grow. Shit doesn't have to stay the fucking same. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're in this fucking whole protest right now, because shit doesn't change, and people are like, come on! This is bullshit.
So what do you want?
But, like, even in gaming, I did it the other day.
Yeah.
I told you before we started, we were talking about it. I played Arkham Knight, right, which is a game that came out few years ago. Fucking great game, perfect graphics, perfect camera control. It was the most refined it could get. It had so much gameplay options and this and that, and just endless content. Not endless, but
Yeah.
And then I never played Arkham Asylum, which was the first one, and I played some of Arkham City. So I decided that I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna, get nostalgic and play Arkham Asylum and this and that. And I played it, and it's a fine game. But you know what? It's not as I was just kind of like, like why am I?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I was playing it, and I was getting into it, and then I saw this video of all the games that are launching with the PS5, and they look so fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
I go, why am I wasting my time playing old games? These are the games to play, They're fucking beautiful. The gameplay's fucking perfectly refined.
Yeah.
The camera, everything about it. Video games have been, like, perfected. Like, what we know as console games have pretty much been perfected.
Like, I don't know.
Why am I going back 10 years? What's the point of that?
Yeah, and just to like, reiterate how you said, like, games are perfected now. Did you see that Ratchet and Clank?
I love
That's
Ratchet
an old
and
game.
Clank.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's one of my talk about nostalgia.
Yeah, and that
Practically
game
got a boner when I saw that.
and that game is I don't know if it's solely made just to show this off, but they did show off how fast the hard drive is going to be.
Right. I saw that. They in the video I was watching, they said that something about the PS5 system that
it's an SS drive, which is
they said it's pretty much going to make loading screens a thing of the past.
Yeah.
So you're going to be able to, like, especially in Ratchet and Clank, because Ratchet and Clank takes place in space, and you do, like, planetary travel where you travel from planet to planet. And, yeah, there was always, like, a loading screen. There was, like, you would have your ship, you would get in your ship, and you would launch, and then it would, like, there would be, like, a little, like, animation of you, like, leaving the planet.
Yeah, but
and then it would, like, show you, like, an animation of you, like, flying through space, like, showing up to the other planet. And then it would go into a load screen. And then it would load into the planet, and then you'd be back whatever planet you were. They said that's done. You're gonna the new game's based off of dimension.
Yeah,
being able to travel through, like, wormholes.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be able to just go from level to level, just, like, instantaneously.
Yeah,
through wormholes.
and the way they did it was just crazy because they had, like, a fraction and, like, in space time.
Yeah.
And then you just jump right into it, and you're in
I
another
saw
level.
The gameplay. I saw the gameplay.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so. I don't know. I don't fucking know. The only thing that I think nostalgia really works for is music.
Yeah.
Music, and like, I mean, like, I guess I'm obviously trying to be over the top, but movies too. Like, it's okay to go back, but, like, stop holding up movies, like, to these ridiculous standards. Just let movies get made. Some of them are good, some of them are not good. That's just how it's always been.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this generation of people, that
plus you're like a dad and shit, so you're already in that mindset where you're like, man, these fucking kids, pussies, all of them.
But I brought this up before, with that whole nostalgia thing, Disneyland, and how hard it was to get on a ride and really take my son to experience what I experienced as a kid.
Right.
And the whole reason was because of all these pass holders that want to enjoy the nostalgia of Disney.
Right.
But forget that it's meant for the kids, and the kids need to experience it, because if not, then Disney's
dead. Yeah. I mean, if you know anything about Disney history, Walt Disney made Disneyland for a place where his idea was that an adult and a child could have fun together. So, I mean, in a sense, it does cater to it as much as it caters to kids, it does cater to adults. But I think he saw it more as like an adult, like a parent. I don't think he thought, or even. See, here's the thing. Also, like, remember that lady went on the rant about, like, they shouldn't allow people without kids to go into Disneyland. Remember that? And she was like, a very kind of a Karen moment before that became really trendy.
Yeah.
And in a sense, she's probably right, but or she might be onto something, But I think Walt Disney and the Disneyland, like, company, in terms of, like, building the theme parks, I think they always have thought we need to cater to as many people as we can, young and old and everything in between, because money, baby. We want everyone to come and pay fuck you and your kids.
I mean, one experience though I could tell you that did kind of piss me off was we got into that new smugglers ride, and when we got into that, you're supposed to be driving it's supposed to be like you work together, and it's like a video game ride, and so you have
the resistance one.
No, it's another one. It's called Smugglers Run, and it's you pilot the Millennium Falcon. And you have a pilot, you have a co-pilot, you have 2 gunners and 2 engineers in the back. So you have to work together. So
Michael Fassbender. That's the only other white guy that I would allow to be in movies. And again, Irish.
And
and Christian Bale, Welsh.
So going back to Smugglers Run, you have to work together, and the better you work together, the better you're at the game, the longer your ride is. So we had Ethan as the pilot because he really wanted to be the pilot, and we had a family with us, and it was like a teenager, probably 17, 18, and the 2 adults. And when we got in there, like, they were upset. Mind you, they were white people too. They were upset that we let Ethan be the pilot. And I told him, "What? It's a fucking ride, dude. Like, what do you?" They're like, "Oh, well, yeah."
Get back in line,
dude,
someone had to be the pilot.
Yeah. So I was like, and then I told her, I said, "Don't worry about it." And she's like, "What?"
They were upset. They talked to you. They told you something?
No, they were just bickering in the back. Like,
what were they saying?
Like, they were just like, "Oh, they let the kid be the pilot."
They said that loud enough for you to hear?
They were, and
wait a minute, how old are they?
Well, the kid that they had was like 17, 18. And then, they look.
And they were mad that their 17-year-old didn't get to be the pilot?
Yeah, because the 17-year-old wanted to be the pilot.
Oh, my God.
But the employee was like, he wants to be the pilot.
When I was 17, I only thought of one thing and one thing only. How the fuck am I going to get laid?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he was on the spectrum.
But, I didn't say anything because, Ethan still had to have fun. And then he didn't hear another thing. He didn't give a fuck about anything. All he cared was that he got to be the
17-year-old kid?
Yeah.
Or Ethan?
No, Ethan.
Okay.
And he didn't give a fuck, dude. He just wanted to be the pilot. He had fun. And then if I said something, all I would have done was
escalate the situation.
Yeah. And then what does that do for Ethan? Nothing.
And then suddenly they got their phone out, and now you're fucking mad. Should I finish up with the CVS?
Oh, yeah.
And what happened to me
Let's end
there?
it with that.
I went to CVS yesterday, and I just went to go get some laundry detergent, right, because I run out. And it's a couple blocks from my house, so I usually just walk. Well, I don't have a car, so I walk everywhere. But so I walk in, right, and I walk straight in, and I walk straight. I know where the detergents are at already. And I walk, and suddenly one of the employees is like, sir. And I realized she's talking to me, and I was like, what the fuck? And I kind of looked at her, and that's when I realized everyone had a mask on except me. I had forgotten my mask. And she didn't even say anything. She just looked at me and she did this. Like concerned. And
so there's a pandemic.
That's when I realized. That's when I realized. I'm like, fuck. And and I said, oh, shit. And I was like, oh, I forgot it. So I left, and I went back home, and I got my fucking mask. Now, it was kind of annoying, especially because I was like, and I could have turned around.
Were you already in line?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just walked in.
Okay.
I didn't even make it to the aisle in the back because it was they're kind of in the back.
Oh, okay.
So I was kind of annoyed walking back, but I was like, well, shit, rules is rules,
Yeah.
And I started to think, like, what if I had protested?
Yeah.
And what if I had said, like, oh, wow, this is, I'm just going to get this real quick, and you're really going to kick me out, and this is bullshit. And
I'm already in.
And then I thought, like, and then what if, like, as I'm trying to protest, people start busting their phones out, right? Because that's what people do now.
Mm-hmm.
She fucking say shit. And I thought to myself, man, all I had to do was make one slightly altered decision, and like that could have went a whole different way, and I could have been one of those people on Facebook that you see talking mad shit.
Now you're the male equivalent.
Now I'm
Darren.
fucking carrying it up. And I don't know. It's just such a weird time we live in.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I mean, in a way, I guess that's how some people get, put in check. But some people just don't give a fuck, and you get those videos.
Yeah, like I said, I've said it, and well, despite contrary belief, minorities are actually more used to following the rules than white people are. That's why when they say, "Son, sir, you need a mask," I'm like, "Oh, sorry, my bad." And I walked myself right back to my house, got the mask, and walked my ass right back without a peep. But why are you getting way more resistance from white people over trivial shit? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they're not used to the rules being enforced on them, I guess, or I don't fucking know, or maybe just the rules are made to just benefit them in general.
Yeah.
What the? Anyways, I feel like we've been bashing white folk about 4 podcasts straight now. I'm not like anti-white people. There's a number of white people I've known in my life that I actually really liked. But how come it's not racist when you say that about white people? But if I were to say like, oh, I've known so many black people in my life, that it's like, that's like the most racist thing you could say,
Yeah,
like, oh, I have
almost
so many black friends.
Racist.
Yeah, I have so many black friends. I always used to say, he goes, only racist people say I'm not racist. Because if you're not racist, you'll never bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you one more. Quick one. I won't say who it was, but I was having a conversation with a lady, older lady. And there had been a situation in my circle, let's just say, where someone I knew, another different person, had a boyfriend who was a black guy. And something happened, and this guy beat the shit out of her. I mean, like hospitalized her.
Oh, my God.
And the reason why this guy beat the shit out of this person I knew, my friend, let's just call her, because he's a fucking scumbag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Insecure scumbag, who has to beat women to feel like a man, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. I think we can all agree on that, right?
Oh, yes. Completely.
So this happened, and, it was talk of the town for a while. My friend has since recovered. She's a strong one, that one. And so I'm having this conversation with this other lady, a much older lady, who I know, who heard about what had happened, and she's having a conversation with my mom.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of overhearing them talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Oh, it was so bad what happened to so and so, and it's so terrible, and this and that." And she goes, "But she goes, negritos, because they're talking, they're Mexican, or they're Hispanic, Mexican or whatever." She goes, "But you can't be mouthing off to black guys like that, because they'll fuck you up,
Oh,
know."
My God.
And I looked at her and I go, "What? I go, "What did you just say?" And she goes, "Well, you can't mouth off like that to them, because they'll fucking beat the shit out of you."
What the fuck?
And I go,
dude?
"Are you saying that all black guys are women beaters? Is that what you're saying?"
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, I'm not saying all black guys beat women." I go, "Okay. What are you saying?" And she goes, "I'm just saying you can't mouth off to black guys, because they'll beat the shit out of you." And I go, "So you're saying that you can't, that black men can't control themselves?" And she goes, "Look, I'm not racist." Right? And I go, "I think you are."
Yeah.
And she goes, "I'm not." And then that's when I infamously said, only racist people have to say I'm not racist, because they say racist shit and then have to justify it somehow, So and I was just like, man. And this lady's like, and then my stupid mom, my mom's saying this. My stupid mom's like standing there like agreeing and shit, I'm like, "Mom, what are you doing?" Because Because, she might not agree, but, my mom's polite.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, you can't be doing that. Oh, man. This was not that long ago. This might have been sometime at the end of last year, But I just that's the kind of thinking that people still have.
That's that deeply embedded
that
racism.
where they don't even realize they're doing it.
Yeah.
They're like completely unaware. Are you saying all black men beat women? No, I'm not saying all black men beat women. I'm saying you can't mouth off the black man because they'll beat the shit out of you. She goes, especially one that's paying your bills and this and that.
Oh, fuck.
I said, good Lord, have mercy. Jesus, take me now. So,
that, my friend, is called ignorance.
Yeah, well, what you going to do? Anyways. So, I guess that brings us to the end. I just want to say, Felipe, anything to say?
Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you,
Rhett, for coming in, man.
Hey, I come in every time, right? Name one podcast where I'm not on it. Frankly, I think the people are tired of me. Yeah, thanks everyone. I know we went up a few subscribers, and
oh yes, Brad, Music Center. Thank you, man,
Brad,
for subscribing.
Finally, hit that subscribe button. Finally got you to hit that button. I'll watch. It's hard to get subscribers, and I'll tell you why. I'm an avid YouTube watcher, as I'm sure most people are, and I subscribe to channels. But I'll watch videos, even videos that I like. I'll watch channels, and I'll watch them, but I won't subscribe. It takes me a while to be like, you know what? All right, I'm gonna subscribe because like these fools are pretty consistent, and I like, I like their style. Some people I subscribe, not and not always, but it usually takes me a minute to subscribe. So, anyways, I know we went up subscribers, so thank you guys. It means a lot to us. Every minute watched, every subscriber, every comment, every like, makes us feel good. Because it makes us feel, I guess, like people are listening to what we have to say. I wouldn't listen to what we have to say personally. But I'm not going to discourage you from listening to what we're saying. And, again, with everything going on, I know people are feeling upset and angry and confused. And there's a lot of tension in the air. And what's right and what's wrong and what's up and what's down. And so just always remember to take it slow, day by day. Eat well, drink a lot of water, try not to overwhelm yourself with too many things at once. And remember, take care of yourself and take care of each other.